Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw that the market continued to balance within a range. And if we zoom out a bit, we can see that even on the larger time frames, the market has been stuck in a fairly narrow range. Heading into the open, we're going to be using 75 to 77.5 as the main support area, as well as the micro bull bear zone. As long as ES holds above 75 to 77.5, technically the buyers can maintain short-term control. And from there, we can go back up to the 83 to 85 quarter initial resistance. And if there is sufficient broad market strength and the other markets are participating in the upside move, then we can even break out beyond 83 to 85 quarter for a test of 88.75 to 90.75, which marks the all-time high. In the event of a failure and break below 75 to 77.5, as long as we are seeing broad market weakness and sustained downside momentum, then we can quite easily test Friday's low. And from there, we can actually go lower, test the naked VPOC at 69.5. And the next area of support is at 65.5 to 67.5, with last week's low being right there at the 65.50. And that's still an area where responsive buyers can be active, especially if we're not going down on heavy volume. And in the event of a break below 65.5, then we have larger time frame support at 59 to 61, which is a major high volume node at 60.5. So that would still be an area where responsive buyers could be active, and the range would really be exhausted by then as well. So given the recent level of volatility, it's unlikely that we're going to go all the way down into 59.61. Even if we break 75, if the volume is not really running above average, then we could still continue balancing and simply find buyers at the 65.5, 67.5 area. So that's something that we'll have to determine in real time. Our default scenario is going to be to the upside as long as ES can hold the 75 to 77.5 area. Like I said, we're going to be using that as the micro bull bear. And also keep an eye on the other markets. So the equivalent support in NASDAQ and Russell is around 47.92.5 to 47.94.5 in NQ, and 12.28 to 12.30 in the Russell. So if ES is holding 75 to 77.50 and the other markets are holding their respective support, then it just serves as a confirmation that buyers are still in control. But if ES breaks 75 to 77.5 and the other markets break their respective support, then it just confirms that all the markets are actually failing and dropping, and that can really accelerate the downside movement quite easily into 69.50 naked VPOC for ES, and probably from there a test of 65.5 to 67.5, at which point we'll have to determine whether there is broad market weakness and enough momentum to head lower. So how the market responds to 75 to 77.50 is really going to set the tone and the directional bias on the day. And then on the upside, 83 to 85 quarter is a very easy zone to test. It marks Friday's high as well as the current overnight high. And then to go beyond that, that's where we really want to see the Russell breaking out above the 36 to 38 area. And then beyond that in the Russell, we have some resistance at 41 to 43. And if it's breaking that as well, then ES can actually reach 88.75 to 90.75. But right now, we are in a low volatility environment. So on the upside, if you're getting a decent enough target and then you notice that the momentum is simply not there anymore, not a bad idea just to take profit and look for the next setup. So right now, this is a lower volume, lower volatility environment, which means lower opportunity. So if the market's giving you 2 to 3R, it's a good idea to lock it in rather than continue holding it, unless there are just overbearing signals that the market is going to continue going in your favor. But if things are a bit mixed, then not a bad idea just to lock in 2 or 3R of profit and then move on to the next setup. So those are the main ideas heading into the open. Keep an eye on 75 to 77.50. That's really going to be the critical area off the open here. So far, it's held in the overnight session, and even the overnight VPOC is within that zone. And a lot of times, short-term directional movements will kick off from key high volume nodes and overnight VPOGs. So all of that is lined up at the initial support zone. So whichever way it's going to go, short-term directional, upside or downside, this is really the zone that can be the starting point of that move. So it's going to be very important to see how the market behaves here off the open, how the underlying internals are shaping up. The previous close 81.75, so off the open, if they're a little bit negative, that's okay as long as they are not trending lower and the advanced decline is not opening at a very negative value, like below minus 1,000 or something. So those are our main thoughts heading into the open. Let's see if the buyers can maintain control at 75 to 77.50, and we'll take it from there.